Gridskipper is a new pulse rifle added to Destiny 2 in Season of the Splicer, and today I'm going to have a look at the weapon, the stats, the roles to chase for PVE and PVP, plus the all-important how to get the weapon. And I'll also be looking at a good Void build, plus the lore for Gridskipper. Well, if you're new around here or find this video useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. Well, Gridskipper is a new legendary energy pulse rifle, and it is a rapid fire frame, meaning deeper ammo reserves, and you get slightly faster reload when the magazine is empty. So looking at the weapon stats, we've got 23 for impact, 40 for range, 52 for stability, 34 for handling, 42 for reload speed, and it's a 540 rounds per minute pulse rifle with 34 in the magazine. Well, next up, let's have a look at the PvP and the PvE roles to chase. So this one can roll with some handy new perks. So first of all, we've got Tunnel Vision, where reloading after defeating a target greatly increases target acquisition and aim down sight speed for a short duration. We've also got Adrenaline Junkie, where grenade final blows grant bonus damage and handling for a moderate duration. And the most popular role out there at the moment is Tunnel Vision and Multi-Kill Clip. We've also got Heating Up and Frenzy, that is a really popular role. Plus there's Killing Wind and High Impact Reserves. For PvP, Moving Target and Snapshot Sights would be good, and for PvE, Tunnel Vision and Multi-Kill Clip would be a decent role to chase. Well, next up, let's have a look at how to get Gridskipper. And to get this pulse rifle, you want to run the new seasonal activity, so you can get this weapon to drop for you from the chest at the end. And to open the chest at the end of the override activity, you will need a key code, which you can craft through the Splicer Gauntlet, which you'll get in the introduction mission for Season of the Splicer. So load up the Splicer Gauntlet with Ether to craft a key code, and then use it to open the chest. There's 4 weapons plus the armour in the override loot pool, so if you don't get it the first time, try again, and it'll definitely drop for you. Well, next up, I wanted to have a quick look at a Gridskipper build. So given this is a Void weapon, I'm going to be using a Void theme for the build, using Gridskipper as the focus, and then also build that around with Elemental Wells. I'll be using my Titan, but you can just as easily swap out the Guardian of your choice. I just stick with the Void theme if you can. So in terms of the exotic armour, I'm going to be using Doomfang Pauldron. This one's got Horns of Doom, so Void melee kills give super energy, and while Sentinel Shield is active, melee kills recharge shield throw, which extends your super on hits. And I've also got increased resilience. Well, the main benefit here is Horns of Doom. So with Void melee kills giving us super energy, you want to be running around and getting in those charge melee kills to help top up your super energy. Also, kills with shield throw help extend your super, so trying to get as many shield throws in as possible to help extend that super duration so you can run around causing maximum damage. Well, next up, let's have a look at the subclass. So for this build, I'm going to be using the Code of the Aggressor, which is Bottom Tree Sentinel. First up, we've got Shield Bash, so after sprinting for a short time, use the melee ability to unleash a devastating Shield Bash that disorients enemies and suppresses the target of a Shield Bash. We've got Superior Arsenal, so grenade kills recharge your grenade energy. Then we got In the Trenches, so kills while surrounded by enemies reduce the cooldown of your super. And finally, we've got Second Shield, to gain an additional shield throw charge while Sentinel Shield is active. So Bottom Tree Sentinel works really well with Doomfang Pauldron for a couple of reasons. First of all, we've got In the Trenches, where kills while surrounded by enemies reduce the cooldown of your super, and given we've already got extended super with Horns of Doom, given to us by Doomfang Pauldron, it's going to pair up really nicely, and we're going to be wanting to get our super back as much as possible. The second shield is also really useful as shield kills extend our super, so it all adds up to more super more of the time. So for the weapons, I'm going to be using the 7th Seraph Carbine in the kinetic slot. It's going to help me generate Warmind cells. The energy slot is reserved for Gridskipper, and then in the power slot I'll be using Falling Guillotine as my Void sword. So looking at the mods, I'm going to be using Elemental Well mods. So first of all, Elemental Charge, so become charged with light by picking up an Elemental Well, and if the Elemental Well's element type matches its subclass element, you gain 2 stacks of charge with light, and that's why I'm running with a Void theme throughout the build. Next up, I'm using Elemental Ordnance, so defeating a combatant with a grenade spawns an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type, and it is best to use Vortex, Thermite or Pulse grenades to get the most out of this mod. Next up, I'm using Font of Wisdom, so picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type grants you a temporary significant increase to your intellect, improving the recharge rate of your super. This gives you a plus 50 intellect boost for 30 seconds, so this one is going to boost your super regeneration significantly, but intellect cannot go above 100. You can also throw on some Warmind cells there too if you want to make it extra potent. Well, that is it for the build. Next up, let's have a look at the lore, as the season story is often hidden in the lore tabs of the seasonal weapons, so let's check it out. So we've got Gridskipper lore, no stars overhead, best not look up. That's from Amanda Holiday. He heard something and snapped awake. There it was again, the skittering of clawed feet above him. In a moment, he grabbed the pulse rifle from near the door and was outside. He saw nothing but the lip of tar paper roof against the undulating night sky, and that didn't mean anything. They could turn invisible. Everyone knew that. They could just be standing there, 1, 2, a dozen, staring down at him. He looked for shimmering outlines, but his vision was filled by the swaying grid of dark purple night. He squinted as a ripple rolled high overhead, and the grid seemed to move even closer, like an enormous sheet settling over the city. A wave of pressure pushed down, building in his sinuses. He pressed a hand to his eyes, and a deep thrum filled his head, and he heard their claws on the walls all around him and their hissing laughter. He turned down the street, weapon raised. He felt his heart thudding in his chest, sweat beading on his back. Another noise. Someone pounding on glass behind him. He spun, and one of them was in his house, looking out at him through the window. His sweaty fingers fumbled to turn the safety off as it opened its mouth. "Dad," the fallen shouted. "You're standing in the garden." He looked down dumbly. Cherry tomatoes were crushed beneath his bare feet. His son yelled again, no longer a fallen, merely irritated and half asleep. "Come back inside." Hands shaking, he stepped out of the garden, and he fought the urge to look into the sky as he walked back to the house. Well, very, very interesting stuff there. As always from the lore in Destiny 2, and they really are doing a good job of fleshing out the story of the Fallen. But that was quite a strange lore tab. But let me know down in the comments what you think of the Gridskipper, and also what you think of that really interesting lore. And do let me know if you come up with a decent build for Gridskipper. Let me know down in the comments, and share your improvements with the community. Well, that is it for this guide on how to get Gridskipper in Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again. See you soon.